It has been a while since I've actually gone on a prolonged fast, and it feels right. It feels like it's time to do that. So starting on February 1st, I'm going to do a minimum of 7 days of juice fasting, but I'm going to try to go a little bit longer. It's going to depend on a few factors. It's going to depend on how I feel. You know, a lot of people, when they hear about fasting, they want to go 30 days, 40 days, 50 days. I even know people who've gone over 60 days on nothing but juice and water and things like that. But you got to listen to your body. I like to approach fasting from the perspective of enjoying it. And if you force yourself into a fast and you're not actually enjoying the process, if you hate what you're doing, the fast can actually be counterproductive. And right now I feel just totally motivated. My entire being, my entire mind, my soul is behind this upcoming fast. And when you approach a fast like that and you actually want to do it and you're eager to get started, that's when you know you're fasting properly. Now, I'm not saying that abstaining from food when you don't want to is a bad thing, because let's face it, we live in the land of overconsumption. Abstaining from things and exercising willpower by letting go of things that aren't needed is a very good thing. But fasting is a little bit different, especially when it's prolonged fasting, not just cyclic intermittent fasting. So again, I'm going to be aiming for 7 days. Chances are I'll go a little bit longer than that. Who knows? Maybe I'll go 20 days or more. You've got to listen to your body. Just because fasting is healthy doesn't mean that for everyone prolonged fasting is healthy. Most people have gone the duration of their life eating excessive amounts of genetically modified, genetically engineered foods that are devoid of minerals, foods that have been highly processed, have had all the enzymes pretty much taken out of the foods that have been bleached and treated with things like chlorine, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, larvicides, insecticides, foods that have had all the pigments and nutritional elements, fibers, beneficial pigments taken out of them, you name it. So when you've eaten a diet that's predominantly filled with those garbage foods for your whole life, and then you decide one day to just stop doing that and start fasting, it can throw you in multiple different directions at once, and it can make you not only feel ungrounded, but it can have health consequences if not done properly. If you approach fasting without a quality plan and a basic understanding of what's going on physiologically as well as mentally when you go and undertake a fast. So for people who are interested in learning more about fasting, I have multiple videos here on my channel. There's tons of great information on YouTube, on the internet. You can find great books on fasting. A couple of great books on fasting that I recommend if you're interested and new to learning about the subject of abstaining from food and going for a predetermined amount of times on nothing but liquid, which is known as fasting, is Arnold Ehret's book, Rational Fasting, and what is the other name of that book? Edmund Bordeaux-Zekeli's book. It's a short book, The Essene Science of Fasting. That's one of the greatest books on fasting ever written, in my opinion. Got a notification, let's turn that off. And there's another book by Edmund Bordeaux-Zekeli called The Essene Gospel of Peace, Book 1. That's a 4-part series. I recommend Book 1. Book 1, out of all 4 books of the Essene Gospel of Peace, Book 1 is indeed my favorite. And for those who don't know what the Essene Gospel of Peace is, it's basically an account of Jesus Christ teaching people who are seeking healing how to heal themselves through fasting and basically colon cleansing and adopting a diet that is in unison, is in alignment with the immutable laws of nature. So, amazing book. Everyone should read that if they are interested in fasting and healing in general. Again, the Essene Gospel of Peace, Book 1. You can find that book for free in e-format online on Google, but I do recommend getting a hard copy of it because it comes with the pictures and it's just a much more magical read. So, again, on the 1st of February, I'm starting a 7-day minimum fast. I'm going to be doing pineapple juice, a lot of green juice. I do not like to consume a lot of fruit, and I do not like to consume a lot of fruit juice. on a fast, even though it tastes really good. I get more out of a fast if I'm actually consuming more greens. I feel calmer, I feel cleaner, my skin becomes more pliable, my mind feels like it expands more, you name it. And expansion of the mind is something that's very common that people experience when they stop eating and live on liquid for a predetermined amount of time. You've got to remember, you guys, that when you're constantly eating foods, all of your body's energy, not all of it, but a large amount of it, is being diverted from healing and regular maintenance, physiologically speaking, and that energy gets diverted into breaking down solid foods. It is amazing how much energy it takes to break down solid foods when you consume them. And most people aren't even really pre-digesting their food properly in the mouth. Again, all digestion starts in the mouth, and most people are not breaking down foods in their mouth, chewing them and mixing them with saliva through the chewing process long enough before they swallow their food. So not only are large amounts of energy being expelled to break down the foods you're eating, but you're eating foods, most Americans are eating foods that aren't masticated properly. They haven't been broken down properly in the mouth. All digestion starts in the mouth, and when you're only taking a few bites of your food and swallowing whole chunks of meat and pasta and whatever it is you like to eat, your body has to use even more energy to break down those foods because they haven't been turned into a liquid via the chewing process. So there's an art to eating foods that are solid properly, and that art essentially is you chew it until it's a liquid, basically, or a smoothie texture, and then you swallow it. Another notification. But your parasites do not want you to chew your food properly. There's an entire spectrum of that'll be a subject for a completely different rant. The parasitic connection to how we eat improperly and our addictions to certain foods and how we don't masticate foods properly. There's a lot of metaphysical and physiological things hiding behind the curtain that are keeping us in this unhealthy, insalubrious, toxic lifestyle, this algorithm. We're addicted to our demise. And not only are we addicted to our demise, but we actually pay our hard-earned money on foods that are robbing us of our vitality, robbing us of our mental clarity, robbing us of our spiritual enhancement. Foods that are actually diminishing the power of the glandular system and the energy wheels, the chakras, the meridians. There's so much going on behind closed doors. We've been shuttered. We've had our mind altered to such an extent that the populace, the human population, isn't even aware of it because they've been dumbed down to such a just massive degree. I'm amazed at how well of a job this culture, this system, this backwards agenda, they've done a great job putting us to sleep. We now operate, ladies and gentlemen, from a consciousness bracket and a physiological bracket of energy that resembles sleep. So again, I've talked a lot about fasting. The motive of this video, the subject I wanted to discuss in this video is fasting, but I keep having ADHD moments and getting off topic, but it's all relative to healing. But let's get back on topic. Fasting. Now, many people who have watched my videos and have watched my fasting videos know that I favor water fasting over juice fasting, but I still do indeed believe heavily in the power of juice fasting. Water fasting, a fast by definition is when you abstain from all calories, and when you consume juice, fruit juice, vegetable juice, there are calories in that juice. And although I do favor water fasting and fasting with teas and even incorporating some coffee into my fast, I still do believe in the divine power of breaking down organic fruits and vegetables, separating the fiber from the liquid and consuming that nectar. So I don't want people to think that because I favor water fasting over juice fasting 50% of the time. I don't want people to think that I'm completely against juicing fruits and vegetables. Absolutely not. I just know that my body undertakes healing personally much quicker on water and tea, things that have no calories. However, when you consume the fruits and vegetables, you download that solar energy, you accumulate that photosynthetic, vibratory, etheric matter into your tissues, and you start resonating on a level that's closer to the plant kingdom. And the plants have silica and minerals and magnesium and boron and essential nutritional elements in them that our bodies can use. And due to the fact that most Americans are mineral deficient, a juice fast can be a great thing. And juice fasting is great as opposed to water fasting and tea fasting as well, because most Americans want something that tastes good. And if you can fast and have a little bit of fruit juice here and there, it's probably going to be a lot easier for the average American to do that, because we're addicted to flavor stimulation here in the Matrix. It's one of the greatest ways they've controlled us as a species is by tapping into our pleasure through our taste buds. When you can get a culture addicted to foods that do nothing but destroy their health, you've pretty much taken them over. So, I've got a nice glass jar here that my significant other got me with some nice spiritual writing on there etched onto the inner portion of this basically potion bottle. But you know, I'm a fan of juice fasting. I'm a fan of water fasting and tea fasting, and I even have some mixed opinions on dry fasting. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. But you know, every year I like to go on a fast, whether it be 7 days or 10 days, sometimes even, you know, short little 3-day fasts. I've gone on multiple 3-day fasts, a few 7-day fasts, a handful of different fasts over the years. And I do incorporate intermittent fasting, although I haven't really been doing that for the last 2 months or so. I've taken a break from that. But I always end up going back to intermittent fasting, because intermittent fasting just makes me feel great. My digestion reaches an all-time high. I just feel better. My skin looks better. It feels better. I have more energy. My mind is clearer. My videos are more creative because my mind isn't being burdened by the heavy load of excessive digestion. Digestion, again, as I talked about in the beginning of this video, it takes massive amounts of energy for your body to actually break down solid foods, and that energy that your body has to use to break down those foods actually affects the creativity of the mind as well. It shutters the mind. We eat way too much here in the Matrix, and we eat way too little of the right foods. So by juice fasting, by getting on a water fasting protocol, things of that nature, by eating less, you can actually start recycling unneeded material and waste within your system, because your body can now kickstart its natural and innate built-in healing processes. See, we separate ourselves from healing because we're constantly burdening our body with constant digestion and drugs and things like that that keep our body in a state where it can't kickstart and start self-regulating the natural healing processes of this biology. The body is ingenious. It knows how to heal itself. When you cut your arm and you get a slice on your arm, or you start bleeding on your thumb, whatever, you can put a bandage on it. You can put some colloidal silver on your wound to keep it clean. But you don't heal your body. It heals itself. The body is ingenious. And when you take away the things in your life that are keeping your body from healing, and you just let go and have faith in your body and your own healing ability, that's when the magic takes place. See, right now we're like a culture who has this wound, metaphorically speaking, and we keep picking the scab off and we never let it heal. We get in the way of ourselves because we're addicted to things that keep ourselves from healing. And this is one of the ways that they've manipulated this culture, and they've done a grand job at it, let me tell you. We eat way too much. In my opinion, the less you eat, the longer you live. There's some pretty interesting research on caloric restriction and how it leads to lifespan prolongation. The problem, however, is that many people who aren't educated and actually believe that don't know how to give themselves the proper nutritional provisionment, and they end up doing damage because they're restricting calories, but they're not putting in enough calories with the right nutrition, so your body ends up getting depleted. Healing is a science, in my opinion, based on my own research, experiments, trial and error, countless experiments, you name it. We've got a backed up colon, we've got liver damage from living in this crazy world, from eating all the bad foods, the excessive alcohol, the excessive smoking, the excessive drugs, breathing in all the chemtrail, aerosol, geoengineering particles, the nanoconstituents, the brake dust in the air. Most of us live in homes that don't have filtered air, and we just breathe in dust, and this stuff just accumulates. The body is like a filter, and filters accumulate things. Filters are designed to be cleaned and replaced, and unfortunately, as a culture, we refuse to clean our filters. We refuse to take the herbs that can help us clean our alimentary tract. The alimentary tract is the tubing from your mouth to your anus. There's multiple feet of tubing, ladies and gentlemen, inside of our system. And that tubing has all sorts of bends and different creases and nodules, and the foods we eat are sticky. We eat way too much breads, refined carbohydrates, excessive amounts of sugar, mineral depleted foods, garbage. This stuff gets stuck in our tissues. We're eating foods that our body was not designed to consume. We're violating the immutable laws of nature. We were designed to eat the fruits, the vegetables, the nuts, the grains, the herbs, the beans, the legumes. We're a herbivore. We are not a carnivore. Whoa, what a crazy culture. What a crazy world indeed. How we've survived this long is a total mystery to me. Because we are violating so many laws of nature. We have done so much destruction, not only to ourselves, but to the ecosphere. But it's kind of a mirror. I think to some extent the crazy insanity taking place here on Earth in terms of pollution and whatnot is just a reflection, a holographic, third-dimensional reflection of what's taking place in the cultural biology of humanity, if that makes sense. We have a toxicity on the inside, therefore we see it and we create it on the outside, vice versa. I do believe things can change, but I think that change starts with you. Change starts with me. Change starts collectively, but on a singular level as well. We all, in my opinion, we all have to take care of our health. Why would you not want to? I hope that my messages and my channel and my videos can help inspire you to see the common sense rationale and getting motivated to take care of your health. There's no hobby. There's nothing else more rewarding than this, because the beautiful thing about real health is that the more you work on yourself, the more you realize that you're an alchemist. The things that you put into yourself, the input, the amount of care that you put into yourself dictates the output. It dictates the result. The more work you put into yourself, the more love you put into yourself, the more you get out of that and you start growing. Your blinders start opening and you see things from a broader perspective. You can see how you've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, and tricked. You start to see how we've been culturally hypnotized through food, through water, advertisements, the air. We are a domesticated creature that lives in a false environment. We have no connection to the Kundalini anymore. We have no connection to the mysteries of nature, the magic of nature, the secrets of nature, the secrets of the earth, the secrets of our biology, the occult anatomy. Our liver, our glands, our spleen, our thymus, pituitary gland, pineal gland, the bones, the liver, the pancreas, the ganglia of the spine, the cerebral spinal fluid, the skin, harbors much more power, as well as the consciousness, than we currently know. We operate on a very, very small percentage of our potential. And we're seeing that now reflected in what's happened to this culture. More sickness now than ever. But there's more medicine now than ever. What a contradiction. And apparently our medical system is so advanced, but there's more sickness now. I mean, 1 in 3 people, 1 in 3 will get cancer, 1 in 4 heart disease. Autism is through the roof, depression is through the roof, obesity is through the roof. Something's wrong here. Now, if people statistically are eating all the junk food, the processed foods, the garbage from the supermarket, the genetically engineered foods, if people are collectively and statistically eating that stuff, and we're seeing more sickness now than ever, don't you think that a large percentage of why these things are taking place with people's bad health as a collective whole is from what they're consuming? Doesn't that make sense? It makes sense to me, because I've been on both sides of the I've been on both sides of the fence. I know what it's like to be on the bad side of the fence, the standard American way of living. Excessive meat, excessive dairy, junk food, processed foods, candies, chemicals, additives, synthetics, hormones, antibiotics, vaccines. And I also know what it's like to be on the other side of the fence, which is naturalism, foods in their whole state, beans, nuts, healthy grains, greens, a moderate amount of fruits, supplementation if needed, herbs, clean air, clean water, peace, loving relationships, beneficial friendships, friendships that nourish you, being around people who lift you up, not bring you down, finding people who resonate on your wavelength, finding your team, so to speak. Many people are in toxic friendships, toxic relationships, and you create a tug of war because one person wants to grow and one wants to stay comfortably numb. Fasting. I'm going to wrap this one up. I can't wait. What is today? Let's look at the computer here. Today is the 30th of January, so the 1st of February is coming up. When I do vegetable juice fast, fruit juice fasts, when I juice fast, I like to start off my morning with a little pineapple juice or a little bit of cantaloupe juice. And then I like to focus on the greens throughout the rest of the day. And then sometimes I'll even throw in some broth, some vegetable broth. And then if I need to, I'll have a little bit of fruit juice before, or as I'm winding down a couple hours before bed. And then I'll just focus on water and maybe a little bit of tea. But even though I'm going to be juice fasting, I still like to drink large amounts of water. Water is very dear to my heart. Check out Dr. Federun Bhat-Mongelage's book, Your Body's Many Cries for Water. Great book if you're interested in learning about how water is so essential to life and so essential to health. 90% or more of the United States population currently dehydrated. There's something wrong there. If you think about it, many Americans, they drink things like sugared drinks, excessive energy drinks, sports drinks, drinks that are advertised as being hydrational when they're not. They have large amounts of sodium in them, dyes, additives, synthetics, strange forms of B vitamins. There's quality B vitamins and there's low quality B vitamins, and a lot of the stuff people are drinking, the soda pops, the energy drinks, they just contain so much garbage. So those drinks are not hydrational. Water is hydrational, pretty much, and it's practically free. That's the beautiful thing about water. Something so miraculous in relation to healing. It's practically free. You spend $1 on a soda, it seems like it's cheap. Well, it's a good deal. You have no clue. You just spent $1 on something that massively destroyed your health. has large amounts of phosphoric acid in it, which is in chrome cleaner, metal cleaner, rust cleaner. Phosphoric acid is in soda. What do you think that's doing to your gut health, your GI health, your gut flora? You paid $1 for something that completely just destroyed your alkalinity levels. Oh, it's a good deal, bro. I got a good deal. I got a large soda for $1. If you realized how you just spent $1 to just destroy so much of your health, you'd probably be ashamed of yourself. But we live in ignorance because we're not aware of the truth, because we've had our blinders put on and we've become comfortable with having it locked around our head. Proper living, proper health, clean foods, foods that have nourishment in them, start to feed the body, liberate the tissues, feed the cells, and as that happens, the blinders start coming off because you now have more health to open up your consciousness. The health of your body, the health of your physiology, the health of your biology is directly and intimately connected to the health and quality of thoughts in your mind. And the thoughts and health of your mind is directly related to the expansion of your consciousness and the awakening, arousal, and stimulation of the Kundalini fire. Peace be with you all.